Let's take a look at another example where we want to focus on the vertical and horizontal intercept of lines. You can find this problem in your textbook, and you can also print out this handout in Blackboard to follow along with the video. In this problem, we're asked to draw two lines on the same coordinate axis, each of slope 2. So this means that both of these lines have the same slope. The first line, which we're calling L sub 1, has a vertical intercept at 1. And the second line, which we're calling L sub 2, has a vertical intercept at 3. So we want to then answer the question, do the lines cross? And then in general, what can you say about lines that have the same slope? So let's start from the beginning. Anytime you're given a problem like this, you always want to break it down. So let's start with the fact that we have two lines with the same slope, and that slope is 2. So my first line, which I'm calling L1, let's call its slope m sub 1. So we know that the slope of line 1 is going to be 2. And then we also know that line 1 has a vertical intercept at 1. So again, remember that your vertical intercept, that's the same thing as your y-intercept. So a y-intercept is, we could write it as an ordered pair, some x comma y, and it's where the line crosses the y-axis. So where a line crosses the y-axis, x is always going to be 0. And so if it crosses it at 1, then the y value for that point is going to be 1. Now let's take a look at line 2. So line 2 also has the same slope as line 1. So line 2, I'll write it down here in red. Let's call its slope some m sub 2. We know that its slope is also 2. But it has a vertical intercept at 3. So its vertical intercept, we can write it as an ordered pair. That's going to be 0, comma 3. So let's go ahead and plot our points, and then let's see if the lines cross. So I'm going to start with line 1. I'm going to use blue here. How do you draw a line? So a lot of students get stuck here. So you just have to ask yourself, how would you draw a line? To draw a line, all you need are 2 points. So right now, I know that I have 1 point, which is the vertical intercept. So let me go ahead and plot that. So this is the point 0, comma 1. To make a line, I need 1 more point. So where am I going to get that point from? I'm going to get it from the slope. So notice that the slope is 2, but I'm going to rewrite the slope as a fraction. I'm going to write it as 2 over 1. And the reason why I'm writing it as 2 over 1 is because that will help me see that the slope of line 1, it has a rise of 2 units and a run to the right of 1 unit. So starting at our y-intercept, I can go up 1, 2, and then over 1. So that's going to give me my second point in that line. And remember, a slope of 2 over 1 is the same thing as a slope of negative 2 over negative 1. So negative 2 over negative 1 means that I can go down 2 and then to the left 1. So that gives me another point. And then now, if I connect these 2 points, or these 3 points, it gives me the line that goes through those points. So we're calling this line 1. And we can see that line 1 is increasing with a slope of 2. Now let's draw the line of L2. So L2 has a y-intercept at 0, comma 3. So I'm going to use red here. There's its y-intercept. That's where it's going to cross the y-axis. And it also has a slope of 2. So I can go up 2, 1, 2, and then over 1. Or I can go down 2 and into the left 1. And so we get this line here. All right, so we can see that line 1 and line 2, they do not cross. Now I know that my drawing doesn't look very good, but hopefully you can see that these two lines, they're never going to cross each other because they have the same slope. So they're always going to be moving at the same steepness. So what we can say in general is that lines that have different intercepts but the same slope, they're always going to be parallel. So we say that lines that have the same slope, we call these lines parallel lines. And the notation that you can use for parallel line is we can say that L1 is parallel, so that's the notation that means parallel to L2. And we can say that L1 is parallel to L2 because the slope of line 1 is equal to the slope of line 2. So now I want to pose this question to you, right? What do we call lines that intersect each other at 90-degree angles, right? And if lines intersect each other at 90-degree angles, then we know that their slopes are going to be negative reciprocals of each other. So pause the video, think about that for a second, and then hopefully you have answered that these lines are called perpendicular lines. Okay, so perpendicular lines, with a notation, we can say line 1 is perpendicular to, let's call this line 3. And line 1 is going to be perpendicular to line 3 because its slope, the slope of line 1, is the negative reciprocal of the slope of line 3.